Among the top stories making headlines at this hour, 2 people feared dead after one plane crashed after colliding with another mid-air at Wilson Airport. President William Ruto announces that EAC leaders will all back Raila Odinga for the AU Commission chair job. Plus, Busia Senator Okiya Omtata faults President William Ruto over the affordable housing levy.
All over the world, there's nowhere where you can take money from one person to build a house for another person.
A very good afternoon to you on this wonderful 5th day of March 2024. Welcome to News Now. My name is George Maringa, right here on TV 47, your home of untold stories. Let's begin where at least 2 people are feared dead and several others injured after a passenger plane collided with a small aircraft mid-air shortly after taking off from Wilson Airport. The Diani-bound Safari Link aircraft collided mid-air with a 99 Flying Club training aircraft shortly after leaving the aircraft. The incident involved a Dash 8 passenger plane belonging to Safari Link, which was headed for Diani with 44 passengers and crew, and a Cessna training plane with 2 people on board. The Cessna plane crashed at Nairobi National Park, while the Dash 8 managed to land back at Wilson Airport. Now, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, has launched the NHIF Graft Report in a bid to curb corruption in the new Social Health Authority. Some of the key findings in the report include systemic gaps in the benefits package, weak internal control on claims management, and weak ICT framework.
Even the few hospitals that we found out undertaking malpractices, it takes a long process. The review process, it takes long. We are saying we simply leave that. Once you are deregistered, you're just removed from the system. You will not be able to be entitled to any claims. If you treat, then that treatment, the patient will pay. You will not be empaneled. You will not enjoy the benefits of claims.
Forward, one thing I would say is, given that we're in the business of healthcare financing, and we want to be able to enhance access, all I can say is we'll empanel as many hospitals as possible so that Kenyans can access facilities. However, if there are any hospitals or any facilities that have been mentioned adversely, I think we'll let the process take due process, but I would be reluctant to empanel anybody who has got an active or ongoing case.
Institutions are not corrupt. It is the people who are corrupt. And so the fact that NHIF as an institution is converting into SHA does not absolve the people who may have been in that previous system who are found to be suspects of corruption deals. Those people will still be pursued in their individual capacities, irrespective of whether they are left out of the new authority or they join the new authority. They are personally responsible for any thing that they may have done while they were in NHIF.
Now, Cabinet Secretary for Health Susan Nakumincha today addressed the issue of delayed intern postings at Afya House, urging doctors to remain patient as the ministry works towards a lasting solution, while assuring the interns that discussions with union officials are ongoing to resolve the matter. Her statement follows a 7-day ultimatum issued by the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union, KMPDU, threatening a nationwide strike. The strike notice. Let's get more on that report.
Call to the unions is to allow a discussion and conversation to take place. As I have said, there are many things that we need to discuss. A strike will not resolve. A solution will only be found when we sit on the table and discuss as all stakeholders. Remember, we have county governments, they are stakeholders in this matter. We have the Ministry of Labour, they are stakeholders in this matter. We have National Treasury, they are stakeholders in this matter. We have Public Service Commission, they are stakeholders. We have Salary and Remuneration Commission, they are stakeholders. Ministry of Health is just but a very small stakeholder in this matter. We have even the Ministry of Education, because they are the ones who are with these interns during the training. So we must bring all these stakeholders on the table, and not that we are beginning now. We have been having these conversations, they are ongoing. So mine is to ask for their opinion.
Now, Lands Cabinet Secretary Alice Wahome has this afternoon announced that the ministry had initiated the process of reclaiming unlawfully acquired land valued at 1.35 billion shillings in Loresho, Kiambu County, owned by a businessman, Ashok Kumar Rupshi. The former Nairobi Provincial Commissioner Davis Nathan Chelogoi is being accused by the owner of an 8-acre plot of land in Loresho of breaching court orders by continuing to occupy the land illegally. A High Court ruling and multiple court judgments compelling the former PC to turn over the property to Ashok, who the court determined to be the rightful owner of the land, have been used as evidence that Chelogoi is intentionally hindering the businessman, and Wahome highlighted that the Ministry of Lands was beginning its efforts with the recovery of the grabbed land belonging to Ashok and company.
We are here to enforce the court judgment. I'm just giving the OCPD time to organize himself, because there may be a bit of work to do, including a report to me after he has executed the court orders. I'm very sure that the police will not, after this, fail to execute the order. The court has directed, and I did not need a court order myself. I think the order is in favor of Ashok. But on my part, I will be able to declare, like I have declared, the ownership. Ownership. Once the ownership is determined by the Cabinet Secretary, and the court has followed that route, the court used documents from my office. I'm here. I want to see how that will not be followed.
I fought for 13 years against Jacob Juma, and legitimately I have been awarded the judgment, and after that now another person came with the fraudulent title, and he is claiming that this is my property. How can this happen when and he was nowhere before until 2022, until I received the judgment.
The magnitude of the matter in issue, and at least the effort by the Office of the CS to see how justice can be done to Mr. Ashok. So today for us, we are happy, and we look forward to the implementation of the directives that were issued by the CS in terms of ensuring that within the 24 hours, he peacefully takes over his land and Article 40 of the Constitution. So we are appreciative to the Office of the CS.
The Azimio Coalition Summit has warned Kenya Kwanza not to derail the implementation of the National Dialogue Committee report, NADCO, claiming there are forces outside and inside Parliament hell-bent to frustrate key bills meant to actualize the NADCO report. Azimio leaders, led by Raila Odinga, now want President William Ruto to rein in on the two speakers of Parliament and a section of the executive whom they say are out to frustrate the implementation of the NADCO report. Speaking on his AU campaign, Azimio Coalition leader Raila Odinga has said he will deepen lobbying for the AU Commission chair seat across the African continent.
We retain the view that the report must be implemented as is. It is also our position that the processing of the NADCO report and the bills to be fast-tracked. Regrettably, we have also been informed of forces within KK, in and outside of Parliament, who are determined to undermine the report and the bills. We notify those forces that should any efforts to undermine or tamper with the report succeed, there will be very heavy price to pay. In this regard, we call on Honorable William Ruto to rein on the speakers of the two houses of Parliament and a number of members of the National Executive who are hell-bent on derailing the NADCO report.
To education matters, and the government has promised to fully implement the competency-based curriculum CBC for learners to gain key skills for development. Speaking at Nyahururu Munyaka Mixed Secondary School in Laikipia County, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua said the Ruto-led administration is keen on implementing reforms in the education sector to meet the development needs of the nation. He assured parents and other stakeholders in the education sector that the reforms will deliver a better workforce.
Our government, led by President William Ruto, is very keen on education for our children because you are the future of our country. And we have invested a lot. Education takes 27% of our entire budget because of the importance of education. That is why when we came into office, the President set up the Presidential Working Party on educational reforms to address matters of CBC and other concerns. And things are going on very well. We have worked on a new financing model for university education, and I want to encourage you to work hard so that you can go to university.
Cabinet Secretary for Interior, Professor Kithure Kindiki, has asked Kenya's security forces to work closely with the public to enhance information gathering in northern Kenya. Speaking in Garissa County, Kindiki explained that the creation of new administrative units will not only bring services to the people, but also provide a way to better deal with terror and violent extremism in northern Kenya. Kindiki added that Kenyan officers on the front line continue to register crucial successes against terror threats through the use of modern technology, modern equipment, and intelligence-led kinetic operations. According to the CS, the government will continue to enhance the operational capabilities of all security agencies and to train more special forces for greater outcomes.
I am asking the special forces who are working in this area to work closely with communities so that we move from the old way of doing things where the public does not see the direct connection and relationship with the security agencies. We want to improve the relationship between our security forces and the residents of northern Kenya, so that we can share information, get intelligence, even as we continue farming up the war against terror. Na kama mnavyojua, katika sehemu hii yetu ya kaskazini mwa Kenya, tumekuwa na tatizo la wale magaidi ambao wametuumiza hapo awali, lakini tumeweka mikakati ya kumaliza kabisa adui.
Busia County Senator Okiya Omtata has continued his criticism of President Dr. William Ruto for his commitment to affordable housing. Senator Omtata has insisted that President Ruto must obey the law in his development arrangements, or he risks facing the law when he ends his tenure. Senator Omtata feels there is need to differentiate between affordable housing and home ownership. He also said the government's decision to deduct workers' salaries for the project was illegal. This comes as the country's law society threatened to go to court against Kenya Revenue Authority's action of taxing a section of workers for the housing levy.
There's a lot of violations of the Constitution. So ultimately, private property must be protected, must be respected, and the owner of private property, which includes salaries, must have the freedom to use their salary the way they choose. We are not a communist state or anything. So I think the president has got no option but to obey the law. And we are going to ensure he follows the law, or he becomes irrelevant. And if he does things against the law, when he leaves power, we shall jail him. How many presidents have gone to jail? So President Ruto should not think that he says he's a god. I know he has changed his style of dress. That means nothing to some of us. He just follows the law, or we deal with him. All over the world, there's nowhere where you can take money from one person to build a house for another person. And we must distinguish between home ownership and access to housing. Article 43 prescribes that the state shall provide access to housing. And access to housing is basically rent. If they are building from the taxes we pay, if they took a section of the taxes and began building houses on public land to rent out to the public, and the houses remain owned by the government, so that people who cannot afford the portion, whatever, but they give them decent housing, you go there and pay affordable rent, just maybe for maintaining the houses. That's what access to housing is.
Let's get sporty, and the African Games trials began on a bad note after athletes staged a go-slow at Nyayo National Stadium in Nairobi County. The participants were protesting the number of athletes set by the Kenya National Sports Council, KNSC. The council says it can only accommodate 35 athletes for the Accra Games. The All Africa Games kick off on the 8th of this month in the West African country. Here is Mary Mora, who is participating in the event.
Tumekuwa tukitrain for Soro, tumekuwa tukiprepare tukijua tuko na All African Games na kuna Africa Senior. So this is the big event wakimbiaji wengine tumekuwa tukingoja. Tukiwa tunasema maybe tukiingia All African Games tutapata hata qualification ya Olympics za kuenda races zingine kama Diamond League. So imekuwa ni kama disappointment kwetu as athletes. Tukiambiwa mkimbiaji ni mmoja kwa kila event, na si event zote, event zingine tumewekewa 0. So tungeomba CS na Sports Council, tafadhali tunawaomba mahali muko na kama mnasikiza, mkuje mtuelezee na mtuambie ni kwa nini mumeamua kuchukua wakimbiaji nusu kwa all events. Wakimbiaji ni 30 na kila event ni moja, na kuna ile yenye iko na 0. So hatujui ni kwa nini, but for us athletes